Hello everyone, my name is Coomansingh and I'd like to welcome you to my Hindi track first capstone assignment for Palindrome. So with this assignment, I was given a set of three words in order to make up a pitch for it. I was given mirror, parallel, and agency. So the game story, you take control of the protagonist Otto, who is a 10-year-old boy living with his parents. One night he woke up to the loud sound of glass shattering, so he rushed downstairs to the living room where his parents kept a large mirror and saw it broken with his parents' shoes in front of it. He then found a camera with a note saying, "Call Larry and tell him code Dark Crystal." You call Larry, who is your father's close friend and coworker, to your knowledge and tell him the message. He then rushes over, picks you up, and brings you back to your father and mother's workplace. He then enters the elevator, pulls a mirror out of his pocket, and enters a secret code. We then are brought deep under the workplace to a secret agency. The synopsis. Upon showing the camera to Larry and looking at it together, it turns out that your parents were kidnapped through the mirror by an evil entity named Evatation, which is the backwards version to negative. You always ask why were there so many mirrors in the house, and with your parents always replying, it's to make sure you get to know yourself. Your dad explains that the mirrors aren't what they seem, and they were made from special crystals that allows you to see into the mirror world, which is a parallel dimension to ours. Your mother says that you've always been special and you're a palindrome. She then says, let Larry take care of you, explaining everything and that you're the key to saving us and banishing evitation. You discover from Larry that the workplace is just a cover for the real agency, Reflect, which studies and observes the parallel mirror dimension. He said that the times when you were younger and they conducted experiments by teaching you things and making you speak to a mirror was to allow your mirror self to grow and develop alongside you. As your mother referred to you as a palindrome, it means you're one of the few people who can exist in both the current and parallel mirror dimension. As a definition of palindrome, meaning something that is the same forwards and backwards, it applies to your name Otto and your mirror self Wosna. The mirror dimension became conquered by an evil spirit named Evatation, who was born from all the negative things that people have spoken into the mirror, or the negative things that people have done in front of the mirror. It is now time for you to meet your mirror self, learn more about Reflect and the mirror dimension in order to save your parents and banish Evatation. The player hook. The game would run like a link between two worlds, a Legend of Zelda, a link between two worlds, and beyond two souls, whereby you'll be utilizing another version of yourself or a spirit, utilizing your mirror self, Wosna, in order to solve puzzles, incorporate problem solving, and traverse through the game story. The game is all about perspective. Thus, due to living alongside a parallel mirror dimension, things aren't things are seen differently. Things can be inside out, opposite colors, upside down, and generally the opposite to our current dimension. Hence, you use that principle and problem-solving skills to go through the story. The genre and rating, I would like this game to be rated E for everyone and have themes occurring with action-adventure, platforming, problem-solving, comic, mischief, and puzzle. I would like the game to have a similar theme and similar content to the video game It Takes Two, released in 2021. The camera POV, I would like it to be an over-the-shoulder third-person perspective, which is very similar to The Last of Us 2, like a realistic 3D art style, or I can compromise with a realistic cartoon art style, similar to The Last of Us. The audience breakdown, I would like for people who enjoy adventure games, people who enjoy puzzle games, people who enjoy games involving problem solving, and people who enjoy games with a compelling storyline, again, similar to It Takes Two and the video game Life is Strange 2015. The gameplay loop. The player, from number one, the player is introduced to a problem/puzzle that needs to be solved. The player employs the use of mirrors or reflective surfaces. The player utilizes perspectives and the opposite properties of the parallel mirror dimension. The player then uses alternate perspectives to acquire new information, allowing for new opportunities of interaction. The player employs problem-solving skills, trial and error tactics, and their newly acquired interactions and information. And lastly, the player makes a breakthrough, completes a problem/puzzle, and can now progress. The core actions, you would go into mirrors, change perspective, solve mirror mysteries, problems, and puzzles, acquire clues through interaction, and basic and advanced movement through interaction. The game goals, for the main goal, you will be rescuing your parents, and you will be to defeat and banish evitation. The sub goal will be to clear levels, find clues, and complete mysteries, puzzles, and problems. And the moment to moment is to do problem solving and using perspective. The feedback for the auditory will be player movement, environment, dialogue, special effects slash actions in the game, and background music. For the visual feedback, perspective, the player, the alternate player self, puzzle and problem solving, and for the haptic, vibrations in accordance with actions in game. The platform or lightest game to be released on all three main consoles, including Xbox, PlayStation, and Nintendo Switch, all three major consoles. For the control scheme, it bases it off of the Xbox controller. However, this can be adopted, as you can see, controls are universal and apply to other consoles and counterparts. We'll start from the bottom left. We have the D-pad, and then we go on to the left stick for movement. The D-pad is quick item usage. You have the select slash options, which is the left button for game map in-game menu. You have the start or the right button for the game options and quitals of the game. You have the right stick, which is for the camera control. You have X, which is to switch to your mirror self. Y, interact and pick up. A is to jump, and B is to go into crouch or sneak mode. You have R2, which is the right trigger to rotate horizontally, and this will apply when you're inside of the mirror dimension or utilizing perspective. Example, the perspective of the mirror mode. You have R1, which you'll be able to go to the next mirror or reflective surface, again in perspective mirror mode. You have L1, previous mirror slash reflective surface, and then lastly you have L2, which is to rotate vertically within the perspective or the mirror mode. The unique selling points. The unique selling points of this game is that it shall be perspective based, adventure oriented, as in these games with compelling storylines such as The Wolf Among Us, what is the game? The Wolf Among Us, Life is Strange, and Batman the Telltale series. Then you have the puzzle slash problem solving intense genre. Any questions? The game theme. For the game theme, I would like it to be fantastical, deep tones surrounding its storyline, and have an adventure-based foundation. The game mood. For the game mood, it will involve curiosity as well as intensity, or intrigue, rather. The plot summary. His name is Otto, a 10-year-old boy whose parents were kidnapped by an evil entity named Evatagen, who was formed by all the negative sayings and deeds done in front of a mirror and is the conqueror of the parallel mirror dimension. You come to know that you are what is called a palindrome, which is a person that exists in both the current real dimension and a parallel mirror dimension. Thus, you finally get to meet your mirror self, Wosna, who has been learning and growing with you through the special crystal mirrors in your house. Your parents were secretly undercover agents at Reflect, where they have been studying the parallel mirror dimension and anomalies in activity. You must now become an agent yourself at Reflect, and with the help of your mirror self, Wosna, must now work together to rescue your parents and banish Evatagen forever from the mirror dimension. The user interface will have, once you open the menu start, you can go into quitting immediately, which will result in stopping and closing the menu. If you go into options, you'll have sound and visuals. In the sound option, you'll be able to toggle subtitles and adjust the volume through the volume slider. For the visuals, you'll be able to adjust the text size as well as adjust the brightness through the slider. And last but not least, you have the tips and controls, where you'll be able to view the control scheme as well as game tips and tutorials. For the main menu of the user interface, I would like it to involve a tabbed menu whereby you can navigate through using the L1 and R1 of your respective controller. And that shall encompass the map, the inventory, clues, and Evatagen's rule. So Evatagen's rule, which is something I cleverly came up with, is that as you beat levels and solve paranormal anomalies, you'll find shards of that mirror that Evatagen sealed your parents in. So you come to know that when Evatagen took your parents, he sealed them in a mirror and he broke that mirror. So similar to the game Banjo-Kazooie on the Nintendo 64, where you collect puzzle pieces in order to explore different worlds. In this game, as you go through and progress and you complete levels or anomalies, you will find pieces or shards of that mirror. Once you put it together, you will not only loosen Evatagen's hold on the mirror dimension, but you'll become closer and closer to rescuing your parents. The HUD, I would like it for the minimalistic yet an effective and efficient heads-up display. On the top left corner, I would like to have the map. Bottom left corner, quick use items. Top right corner, I would like to have your tasks. And the bottom right corner, you'll have 2 meters for detection and stamina, respectively. The core systems, you'll have a movement system, the problem-solving system, and the perspective system. The core mechanics breakdown, movement, problem-solving, perspective, interaction, and inventory, respectively. The level design breakdown from number 1, players introduce a problem / mystery or puzzle. The player observes and analyzes the area, interacting with anything they can and gaining clues. The player finds some reflective surface and switches to their mirror self or snow. The player utilizes the backwards, inside out, opposite, or reverse time properties of the parallel mirror dimension. The player analyzes the area from the new altered perspective in order to gain more insight to the situation. The player combines new information from altered perspective and applies it to their real-world circumstance. The player puts all of the information together, interacting with objects and gaining clues. And lastly, the player solves the problem / puzzle / mystery and resolves the anomaly. The intended aesthetics, as prior, I said I wanted to be have a realistic art style. However, I also, in contrast to that, wanted to have a realistic, smoothened cartoon visuals, which will be similar to the game BioShock Infinite, released in 2013. And the aesthetics themes, I would like it to be kid-friendly, fantastical, problem-solving, have realism, and cartoon visuals. So I'll be combining both the ends of realism and the ends of cartoon visuals to have a great amalgamation of the two. The mood board will be creativity, optimism, enthusiasm, and thinking. The color palette, again, similar to BioShock Infinite. The color palette similar to the visuals and art style of BioShock Infinite. For the development technology, in order to create the game itself, I shall be utilizing either the Godot engine or Unity, or a combination of the two. And for the audio, I shall be utilizing Fmod for my development technology. Here are my references, and thank you for listening.